This episode of the podcast is sponsored by Audible. Details are in the link in the description. Welcome to the Catholic with the Bible podcast. My name is Tad, the Catholic who, yes, reads his Bible. And as always, we have Move Merchants on the intro music. It's easy to forget that we're living in a day and age where modern medicine has brought us into such levels of comfort that our great-grandparents would never have ever considered. Whether that be treating illnesses or, the fact that we have the polio vaccine, which wrecked people back in the day. And looking way back through the Bible, which we're going through right now, we see people ravaged and lives destroyed by certain diseases. And if you're listening to this podcast at the time of release, you probably know what I'm about to start getting into. But for anyone who might be listening, 5 years in the future, let me walk you through the phenomenon of the United States and the rest of the world going through the COVID-19 pandemic. So today, as in today for me, this has been something we've been dealing with for about a year, a year plus. And at this point, it might seem even a little stale that it's something we've been dealing with for a while. And it's not fun, but we're used to it. It's nothing that it doesn't feel as foreign to us as it used to. Like right now, we're able to look over at these amazing timelines put together by, say, the Epic Times or anybody like that, and actually see all the little tickers and see not only, details about this disease, but why it happened and what we can do about it. But this time last year was a very different story. But this time last year, it wasn't the way we view it now. This time last year, we'd been kind of hearing news about stuff going on in China and something about a disease being brought forward, maybe bred and carried by a bat. We really didn't know. And that disease made it from China to the rest of the world, to the point that businesses were shutting down. We're not seeing people like how we used to. And it's not because anything other than we don't know the situation here. I remember super early on when we were dealing with this, and there was this scary, scary graph that showed if we do nothing, our hospitals will be overrun. So we had to do, as we all know the phrase, flatten the curve. But I don't want to go very far forward into that right now. I really just want to dwell on that moment in time when a lot of people were told, you will be working from home. All these businesses shutting down because you might bump into somebody who is carrying something that can kill you. This might sound strange, but we even had churches shutting down. I mean, it was just a really, really terrifying time. But walking through grocery stores, seeing somebody coming your way and just knowing, okay, this person's got a mask on, that's good. They have on gloves. Okay, is that something we need? I don't know. Either way, you keep your distance. I'll stay over here, and just taking turns before going down aisles. It was scary. If we had some way of looking over and seeing somebody and being told, this person has the virus. Ooh, man, you would clear out an entire grocery store in 2 seconds. Was there a cure for this? We don't know. Will there ever be one? No clue. Just stay away from these people. Just stay away. If you don't know, stay away. So there were these devastating stories of these people who they got the virus and they had to separate themselves from their family. They spent a week alone and then died. So like the last time that somebody saw their significant other, they seemed like something was wrong, kind of sick. And then that was it. I've been blessed. I mean, I know some people who've caught it. I don't know anyone personally who's died. I mean, there's obviously the celebrities, but There's nobody who knew me intimately that passed because of this thing. But I bring this up because when we look over at the gospel, we see Jesus Christ interacting with a person with a disease of the skin. But when the Bible talks about leprosy, they're not talking about Hansen's disease. It's just an unknown disease, really. Due to lack of treatment, you'd see these people and they would just kind of deteriorate and then just kind of pass. And we didn't know much about it. It was something that was seen as just a thing that you're going to catch and then you're going to die too. So it was the fastest way to lose any connection with any family or friends. Because the moment you got it, and this was pre-cell phone, so this wasn't only a matter of not being able to see them and spend time with them, you were not able to speak with them. And I bring this up because it's so easy to just kind of gloss over the fact that Jesus did a very, very controversial and terrifying thing. Imagine being one of the people walking with Jesus and he sees a person who obviously has this disease. I mean, naturally, just like everyone else, you'd want to keep your distance. But when this person steps forward and sees Jesus, just knows, you are my only chance. And up at this point, Jesus hasn't said anything. But the man steps forward to him, reaches out and touches him. And Jesus didn't recoil or anything. I can only imagine Simon seeing this thinking, what are you doing? My job is to help you. I feel like you're not going to help yourself. This is going to be a problem. What do we do here? And there's actually a scene from the TV show The Chosen, which I think really captures this moment really well. And after this man steps over to Jesus and says, if I touch you, I will be healed. And he does. And that's exactly what happens. Which is a moment of faith that I think is really easy to gloss over. If we look over in the Gospel of Matthew at this point, when Jesus cleanses a leper, it was right after the Sermon on the Mount, which we don't see anything about that in this particular gospel. Later, we'll see the Sermon on the Plain, but that's all. So it's possible that this big moment took place and this man with leprosy was just staring way off in the distance by himself, hearing the good news, and then just knew, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I want. After he gets healed, Jesus says, go show yourselves to the priest and make an offering for your cleansing, as Moses commanded for a proof to the people. And at this point, Jesus says, go and show yourself to the priest. And him doing that isn't just, just sticking to cultural norms. He was following the law. And this was a reference to Leviticus 14. Because Jesus didn't just say, all that stuff's gone now. He said, you go forward and you show yourselves to the priest. And that action would wipe away, and with proof that this man is no longer to be seen as an outcast. This man is no longer to be seen as a threat. And one thing that happens quite a bit is he did this thing. Other people found out about it, and then they all flocked to him to see if they could have their own miracles worked. But Jesus did not want to be seen as just a miracle man. He left and went to pray. And at this point, I really wish I knew what he prayed about and how he prayed. Because this is another instance of him working a miracle, not for the sake of the physical world. And this is a moment where we see Jesus modeling what we should do. We should go do those good works, but not for glory. Otherwise, he would have hung out. He would have let people show up and just lose their minds, and he would be, the miracle man, the wonder worker. But that's not the point. He did good works, then went and prayed. But turning the attention back to the people around him, and they saw Jesus go directly into the line of danger. He accepted that danger. So the apostles looked and saw Jesus face danger with no fear because he was doing the good. And that's something that's easy for us to forget, but I hope that that's something we can remember should be 100% a top priority. So just like what took place at this moment, I just ask that we all move forward and do the work of God for the sake of God. But thank you for listening to this episode, and I just ask that you share with a friend if you think this is an important ministry that should be carried forward. So I'm pondering on God's word, and I hope you will take the time to do the same thing too.
Luke chapter 5, verses 12 through 16. Now there was a man full of leprosy in one of the towns where he was, and when he saw Jesus, he fell prostrate, pleaded with him, and said, "Lord, if you wish, you can make me clean." Jesus stretched out his hand, touched him, and said, "I do will it. Be made clean." And the leprosy left him immediately. Then he ordered him not to tell anyone, but, "Go, show yourself to the priest, and offer for your cleansing what Moses prescribed. That will be proof for them." The report about him spread all the more, and great crowds assembled to listen to him and to be cured of their ailments. But he would withdraw to deserted places to pray.